Welcome to the Start, Build, Grow Show. Man, I am excited about this episode. I got my man with WinRate Consulting, Mike Claudio, going to be joining us here in just a moment. It's such a cool journey. You know, he and I got to connect, man, probably one of the first 10, 12 episodes I did. This is probably 4 or 5 years ago. So we get to chat and dive in to what's new in his world. He's become, you know, I'll go and say it, a world-renowned, you know, life coach, business coach. Man, he's working with a lot of people in our space, outside the space, and just having such an incredible impact on the world of entrepreneurship and leadership and personal development. And I'm excited to interview my man in just a minute.
JobLimits is a fully customizable back office solution.
Track leads, jobs, tasks from one easy-to-use software.
And with the largest ecosystem of integrated partners, if we don't do it, we have a friend who does.
Learn how the number one back office system in roofing
Can help you be efficient, be organized, be professional, and be profitable.
Stop driving job site to job site or texting and emailing photos. Know what's happening across your business. Get started for free today.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. We got none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Mike Claudio with WinRate Consulting. Bro, it's been a while. How have you been, my friend?
Dude, I was just, when you were doing the intro, man, it's just crazy to think like how long ago the first time I was on this show. I mean, it had to be 3 years ago, right?
I think maybe even more, man. We've been doing the show, what was this, like episode 250 something? I mean, it's almost 5 years we've been doing this episode.
Cool, man. Like, that's just, I'm going to give a round of applause to that, man. It's hard to stay consistent for that long. Like, you know, I've done it and it's not easy. It sucks. You know, every week it's like, fuck, we're behind on podcasts again. And it's just like, it's never ending.
Yeah, man. Well, think about this though. Back then, we were setting it up to where it was filmed and recorded and projected live all the time, once a week at the exact same time. So we had to have all the equipment right. We had to have everything perfect to start at that exact time and go live. And we did that for probably the first 3-4 years. And then we decided, okay, let's catch up with the times. Let's start doing a little more editing. We have a bunch of some sponsors. We can add in some cool stuff if we actually record them ahead of time. And, you know, we still don't do a lot of editing because I think that organic content is really key to how we deliver the show. But now we don't have to. We're able to record and kind of, you know, pre-plan and release them on time now. But I mean, planning all that and executing live, I had to have that on my calendar every week for years, and that was probably the only consistent thing I've done in my life as an entrepreneur. I mean, we'll dive right in because entrepreneurship plus consistency doesn't mix very well. It takes effort, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, man, things have been good. You know, same story. You know, I think you and I are the two of the guys that just like won't go away, right? We keep showing up, we keep making an impact, we keep, you know, doing our jobs, we keep evolving and adapting to the times and evolving and adapting to the marketplace, evolving and adapting to what, you know, entrepreneurs that we're supporting are doing. And like, that's the hardest part, I think, is, you know, continuing to be objective enough to diagnose the situation for what's being needed right now in the marketplace and evolving to the occasion and like leveling up to the occasion. And, you know, it's hard being like the person that's being looked to for the answers. You know, I'm at it for 5 years. I think you started a couple of years before I did, right? And so, you know, when you're the person that people look to for the answers to their biggest problems, both in their business and in their life, like it is like coaching sounds great until you do it for a living. And, you know, you carry a lot, you have a lot of hard conversations, and, you know, I think it's incredible to be able to come back around to these conversations with people like yourself and say, like, hey, we're still doing it. We're still around. Like, we're the asshole that won't disappear. And like, we're going to keep showing up in one way or another. And you know, we've impacted, you know, more lives than we can ever measure through the content and through the stuff we give away for free. And then you put in the people that have actually paid for services and the different level of attention they get and the on-sites you guys do. Like, I kind of got away from the on-sites from a, you know, travel and time commitment issues. And So overall, man, it's just like, it's cool to come back around and see, you know, people who are putting themselves out there vulnerably and willing to do the work to evolve and, step up to the occasion.
Yeah, I love it, man. And it's funny because, I remember you and I sitting there. You'd come to Colorado for something, and we just sat there and had a beer, and we were just talking, and you were kind of brainstorming when you were first kind of launching your deal, and you came to me as if I had some answers. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was just out there trying to serve, man. That's what we do. It's what we wear this. It's like, just how do we serve? And I think getting into the coaching world, for me, it just kind of was it kind of naturally evolved there, because we built a business. I'm an entrepreneur, and we saw a lot of success, and we approached it from a unique way that a lot of others didn't really know or hadn't approached it from that perspective of pure systemization and people and process and all the things that we implemented early on. And we saw a lot of success, so people noticed, and they were like, hey, I want to learn from you, or I want to, and I was like, sure. I developed a passion that I didn't realize that I had to serve and help others, and then that kind of evolved, and now we're still doing it and able to help others and be a light to help other people achieve their dreams, and it gets tough. It's tough because it can be a lot. It can be a lot, I think, emotionally. That's what you don't realize. Is like you're vested. Like I truly, guys, I know you do. You truly care about your clients. You truly care about the people you're working with and their success, and so you wear that burden of wanting to serve and wanting to help them. And the reality of it is, we don't always have all the answers, but when you genuinely care about what you're trying to do, it adds a whole nother level of complexity because of that emotional challenge. Like, how do you work through that?
Well, but I think it's you work through it. Like, I think that's what made you a successful entrepreneur, was you treated your business that way, right? We both run into business owners that are doing it for the money, or doing it for the accolades, or doing it for the stuff, and they can't keep a team, they can't evolve a team, they can't level themselves out of leadership, they can't get to that CEO role because they're not doing it. And I'm not saying this for the wrong reasons, but I feel like there's a certain amount that has to be done out of service to your employees. And so I'd say the passion for you was there before the coaching. You just implemented it in one silo of your own business, and now you get to do it for business owners all over the place, which has an indirect impact. But you're right, like the emotional weight of, I've dealt with some pretty hard stuff. I don't know if you have, but we've had a couple job site fatalities over the last year. We've had a couple, employee suicides or deaths. We've had a couple, major financial issues that customers have put themselves into, and it's like, when they call you breaking down because of something they never thought, you carry it with them, and sometimes you carry it even more than they do, because whether it's right or wrong, there's a certain amount of responsibility we take as the coach to know the questions to ask and know the data points to look at so you can catch them. But I don't know if you deal with it, but we deal with it where some clients, even after hiring us, are still afraid to give the whole truth because they have the ego side. They don't want to share the whole story. And so you're giving advice based on partial truths. Not that they're lying. They're just, afraid to share everything. And so, you carry that. You carry the failures, because the successes, I'm sure you're in the same boat. I have some clients I've been working with for 3 or 4 years. And, it hasn't always been fun, but, they're definitely in a better place now than they were 3 or 4 years ago. And those are the fun ones. Those almost you take for granted because they just keep coming around. They just keep doing the work, and it just keeps working. Yeah. It's the failure that you tend to carry more because, there's always more you could do because, we're not in their business 10 hours a day like they are, maybe a couple hours a month, right? And so there's only so much you can do with the amount of time you have. But no, for me, it's about, giving myself permission to feel it. I guess the tactic specifically that I've implemented is, give myself permission to feel it and then compartmentalize it and then go do my job. Empathize with them, sympathize with them, feel it with them, carry it with them. I have cried with clients. I have been angry with clients. I have not at them, but with them in whatever they're dealing with. And then okay, now it's time to compartmentalize that emotion, allow myself to feel it. I used to pretend I didn't feel it. And that wasn't fair to me either in the process of working through the emotion. But you have someone call you at 7 o'clock in the morning because one of their guys died. You have to feel that. You have to as a human, you have to allow yourself to feel that. and then give yourself mission to work through it, compartmentalize it to an extent, and then do your job as the objective coach, mentor, leader, life coach, whatever you want to call it, and step in as the role that can help them borrow confidence, them borrow hope, them borrow belief, them borrow, the words that they need to express to their teams, because they're just in such an emotional position they can't think clearly. And so that's the role I take, is like feel with them, compartmentalize, and then be whatever they're lacking in that moment to help them take action. Because their machine, their ship is still moving forward. The unfortunate reality is that business is like sports to an extent, where it's next man up. That customer, they might care, but they don't really care. Like, that project was supposed to happen today. That crew was supposed to be there today. That whatever was supposed to happen today. Hey, sorry to hear that, but when's my project going to get done? And you have to be able to move your ship forward. You have to be able to get your team, through the tough part. So I would say, like, I carry it, I feel it with them, and then I allow myself to transition into, like, okay, what are they missing right now? Is it the confidence to move forward? Is it hope that it's going to be okay? Is it the words to utilize with their team to move through whatever the emotion that they're carrying? Is it showing them that, like, this is an opportunity for you to manage the emotional thermostat of your company? I think most leaders underestimate that. Like, even in, like, minor issues, when they carry the emotions and they are setting the thermostat for their whole company. Like, when something goes wrong, or a project goes wrong, or someone loses money, or someone makes a mistake, or the company looks to the leader to say, how worried should we be about this? Like, how big of a deal is this? How concerned should we be for the future of our job here? Like, is this detrimental? Is this catastrophic? Is this, like, putting us out of business? Like, most leaders, I think, don't understand how much the company looks to them to understand, like, how should we feel? And we're judging that as an employee based on how is the leader emoting to whatever the situation is. And I think a lot of times it's just talking them through it privately so they can carry it appropriately in front of the rest of their team as well.
Absolutely. And man, there's so much to unpack there too, because obviously as a coach, as a consultant, but as a business owner, I've experienced a lot of those things firsthand. We've had multiple times. I've been doing this a long time now, 17, 18 years, and I've experienced all of those things: death and people passing away, and like bankruptcies and loss and layoffs and economic downturns and pandemics and all those. Man, it is emotionally taxing as a leader. Because here's the thing: we all come in and we all start a business for whatever reason, right? We want to make money, we want to provide for our family, we want to create a legacy, we want to sell the company, whatever the opportunities there, we want to do it better than the guy we got ripped off. There's all the stories, you've heard them all. But the reality is, once you sign that check, once you become the owner, once you become the leader, the entrepreneur, the CEO of the company, you now have an expectation of you that you know it, you have all the answers, that you can solve all the problems. And that is a large burden that a lot of us don't realize that is going to be put on us, and it becomes taxing, becomes difficult. And it's the reason that breaks us.
Know about the problems that are coming, right? I think it's a matter of, like, that you can handle the problems you're aware of. It's the problems you could not even known were coming that you couldn't be prepared for. I think that's what the blissful ignorance of early entrepreneurship is like, oh, I got this. And then you hit all these problems you would have never even known to think about and prepare for or know about, which, like, I don't understand how people operate without a coach. Like, I've had a coach for over 5 years. It's been different for different seasons, different reasons, different desired outcomes. But I can't imagine being a CEO and not have a lifeline to call somebody who's been through what I'm going through that can give me guidance. Like, I can't understand how people do it without it. Now that I've been the coach and been coached, I don't, like, not having a lifeline would be exhausting. It'd be miserable. It'd be overwhelming because you have no one to call to give you clear advice unemotionally. You're stuck in the feedback loop of your own emotions.
Yeah, and agreed. I've invested so much money, and I've been so blessed because early on, I went to business school, and early on, I had teachers, and I got jobs with guys that were small business and the construction, and I just naturally started leaning on people and seeking out mentorship, and I've just, my whole career, I've always had great mentors. And now, I invest way more than what I charge for my coach, right? To get what I need to get. Like, man, we're still making decisions that are very difficult every day. And here's the reality. As a CEO, as an owner of a business, you can attest to this. The decisions that we make every single day impact not only ourselves, our families, but the families and the lives and the generations of people to come, of those who are working with us, who are helping us achieve our dreams. That's a lot. Why would you not invest in having someone who's been there, who's done that, to help you navigate those waters, to just be a better leader and make better decisions? Or if at all, the least of it, just have a sounding board to let you articulate your thoughts and your processing before you go and just, ready, fire, aim, as many of us do, and we cause ripple effects that affect families and affect people's lives.
Well, it can be overwhelming, but also incredibly empowering to have that perspective that this decision I'm going to make doesn't just impact me or this immediate audience. It impacts, potentially generations of a family. You get somebody, into wealth, for instance, and teach them how to manage it correctly. You're literally impacting generations of people, and that's just the direct impact, right? I know, for you with the content side, I'm getting, 10, 15,000 downloads a month on the podcast. I'm getting 50, 60,000 views a month on the YouTube channel. There's a whole lot of indirect impact that the effort we're putting in, the lessons we've learned is making as well. And, part of it's empowering, part of it's intimidating, part of it's a responsibility I think all leaders have that don't take it. The decisions you make impact a lot more than just you. But most people can't see past their own shit anyway.
Oh yeah, right. So why not have somebody at least try to help you, right? Can't see the forest in the trees, right?
And I think part of it is, I don't know if you've experienced this, but so I think some of the biggest objections that we overcome with prospects of coaching is them believing they'll actually do the work this time. I think a lot of people have invested in things in the past and not done anything with it. And so they assume they told their wife, babe, this is the one, this is the investment that gets us over the hump. And then it's no, I promise this is the one. And they never actually follow through on doing the work. So they never actually get the results. So they deal with a lot of internal dialogue of lack of self-belief and effort. I think it's a big part of some of the challenges we deal with overcoming is not that they don't think it'll work. It's that they're not sure they're going to work. And that's, I think a lot of business owners just have a lot of self-doubt in what they're capable of because they've let themselves down so many times.
Oh, dude, man, you nailed it with that. And I'm in some pretty high level business groups, right? Minimum requirements, you have to have a certain level of revenue, certain level of, to even get into these groups. And the common theme, when you get into a group like that, when everybody's being vulnerable, everyone in there owns multi-million-dollar companies and all different industries, everyone gets in there, and guess what the common theme is? We all feel like we're imposters. Imposter syndrome is real, and nobody wants to talk about it. We're also proud as well, right? We don't want to admit that, oh, I'm the man. I started a multi-million-dollar roofing company, so I obviously know everything. I'm rich, and I'm making money, or maybe I'm not making money. I'm hiding it. I'm put out this facade. But here's the reality of it is, no matter whether you're just starting out and you're doing maybe a couple grand a month or whatever, or you're a multi-million-dollar company, we all deal with that same, internal, pressure of feeling like, hey, am I even good enough to do this? Can I do this? Or am I an imposter in this world? And we're in a world of comparison, right? Social media, all we're doing is comparing ourselves to everyone else on social media, and that adds to it. We're always feeling insecure, but how many of us are willing to actually open up and talk about that?
Well, and I think it's a big part of, especially at that level, it's not so much can I do it, it's can I keep doing it? Can I sustain and keep making the right decisions at certain levels? Because, the risk reward becomes greater. The investments, the payroll goes from 10 grand a month to 100 grand a month. My payroll is 100 grand a month right now. Different decisions impact differently at that level, right? And at each level, it's so can I continue to perform at this level? Can I continue to make good decisions? And I think what most high performers miss is, and I think you would agree with this, even if you don't have a coach consultant in your ecosystem, there's enough accountability around you that you're not going to make 25 bad decisions in a row. Like, you likely have key leadership in place that has some authority. You have a spouse that's generally involved. Until you probably, even in that 5 to 10 million, your spouse is still pretty involved in what's going on for the most part. I think most people, it would take 20 to 25 terrible decisions in a row to blow it up.
Yeah.
And most people have enough checks and balances or intelligence or authority around them that that would never happen. Because I don't think there's any, outside of you just saying, I'm shutting it down, I'm not sure there's a single decision you can make that your team wouldn't overcome, that some of your life would be like, bro, are you sure about this? I don't think this makes sense, bro. Like, we may not want to do that. But it would take dozens of decisions, in my opinions, in a row to completely put your business out, right? Yeah. And so, if you're $1 million business with 3 employees, maybe you don't have that ecosystem around you. You get 5 to 10 million, you have to have some leaders in place that you trust. You have to have some people around you. You likely have a mentor or coach or consultant in some sense at that level. So there's enough protection, insulation, that you couldn't make enough bad decisions in a row to put your business out of business. That's my opinion, honestly.
Yeah, and obviously there's opinions here.
Me, for sure.
Yeah, but I'm with you though, because as an entrepreneur, we kind of go through these life cycles, and you get to a certain point in your career where you start to have a leadership team. A lot of people don't get there. Yeah. They hire guys like you and myself to help them get there, and that's what I do. My job is to help you get to a place where you become an actual CEO. In order to do that, you have to build this ecosystem, as you say, around you of good people that match your values, that match what you're trying to do, that all have unique God-given skill sets, and your job is to put them in the right positions to succeed and empower them to call you out on your bullshit when you're making a bad move or making a bad mistake. If you do make a mistake, you'll learn from it and you grow. It's not going to be a devastating, your business is gone type of situation if you put those people in place and have those checks and balances in place to succeed.
Well, and we don't have time to go down the rabbit hole on this, but that's why objective measurements like KPIs are so important. Mm-hmm. Because then it's not your opinion that things are going well. It's the machine's literally giving you data points that says it's not or it is, right? Yep. And so having measurements and KPI dashboards and metrics in place to judge the health of the machine allows everybody on the team to know whether or not it's working. Not just, oh, well, the boss says it's working and we're just a bunch of yes men, let's just do our jobs. Having those objective measurement tools, I think, is a huge step for most people to gain access to that CEO level, because until you have a way for you to objectively measure the success of your company, everybody's looking to you about how we feel about how things are going, which means you have to be intimately involved in day-to-day decision making. So until you have objective measurement tools for everybody to look at to judge the success or the momentum, you're stuck in the business role forever, in my opinion. I don't know if you can get out successfully without some form of objective measurement tools and metrics to do it.
Absolutely. And it's, it's somewhat cliche at this point too, but we've all heard that run your business by the numbers, and we've built an entire business about how to teach people how to run their business by the numbers, because it's that important. You hear it, and oh yeah, some other guru telling me to run my business by the numbers. But hey, how about you actually apply this concept, small increment, come up with 5 metrics. 5 metrics for your business. Start there and start tracking and putting the data in and letting those numbers tell you a story. And once you're able to really start to see that, decision making becomes a lot easier. When we're just making decisions off of a whim or off of instinct, you can only get so far. But when you're trying to level up and get to that next level to where you are, a CEO, you are working on your business, not in your business, you got to have something to help you make better decisions. It's not just call Mike to help me make my decision. It's let's look at the numbers. What are the numbers telling me, and what adjustments and pivots do I need to make in my business in order to continue to move the ball forward and upward, right?
Yep. No, it makes decision making unavoidable. It's easy to ignore stuff when you're not looking at it. Yeah. Right. It's easy to make excuses on why you don't need to have the hard conversation when you can make the excuse. When you have the objective numbers that are not your emotions, it makes decision making substantially less emotional, and it makes it a lot easier to execute.
Yeah, I like that. And again, this is just all things that we dove right in. This is awesome. Every time I hang out with you, man, we always just can dive right in. This was great. We didn't have to have it a lead up. We just jumped right into the conversation. And I think there's some huge content and good value here, because no matter who you are, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're trying to level up and trying to be the best version of yourself and try to accomplish great things, you're way better off when you can stand on the shoulders of giants. Stand on the shoulders of others who've been there, who have done that, and who have the knowledge and the wisdom to help you get to where you want to go. So whether it's YouTube or podcasts, or if you're listening to this podcast, you're already on your way there. You're already taking that initiative of, hey, and you already see the value of learning from others, you know. But some of the, I just said it, but probably the most, in my opinion, the most underrated aspect of life and business and leadership and entrepreneurship is the value you get when you chase knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah.
You can only get wisdom through experience, and you can get knowledge through learning from others as well, to help you gain wisdom, to then make better decisions, to then level up and get better.
Well, I think even a first step for most people, if you're on the fence about investing in a coaching program or a mentor or something, is like, go mentor somebody that's behind you, and you'll see immediately how powerful it is, and you'll want it more, right? Like, because sometimes the best way to learn something is to learn how to teach it to somebody else.
Yep.
You know, like that's, you know, one of the benefits of being a coach is I get to solve new problems all the time and learn through doing it, right? And, you know, and learning how to teach something differently to different people, and so you get better at it. But I think, you know, you want to really see the impact you can make in the world, like whether you're charging for it or not, go impact somebody who's where you were 2 years ago. You know, go help that person, go give them advice, go support each other, go lift up the quality of the environment, the ecosystem, the community as a whole. Like, there's plenty of free advice out there. I mean, there's not much I say that I haven't put in a piece of content along the way somewhere, just like you. You know, I think more people, if they would just go out and like physically go help somebody who's behind them somewhere, who's interested in doing the work and interested in evolving, interested in getting better, you be a mentor long enough, you'll start to seek a mentor. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you mentor somebody, you're going to want what you're giving them from somebody else. I promise you.
Absolutely. And the value, you can't even put a value on it. You know, I say this, and I have this conversation from time to time, and not from a place of arrogance, but it's a place of my own experience working with mentors and coaches and people that have impacted my life. One conversation with a coach, with a mentor, with somebody who knows something and you don't know, that can help you work through something, can literally be that pivotal moment in your life that changes the trajectory of your entire life and generations to come. How do you put a value on that? But if you're not willing to put yourself out there,
right? Because like, yeah, see, it's also compounding advice, right? Because you get that little bit here that makes this trajectory change. You get this little bit here that makes that trajectory change, but you wouldn't have been there if you didn't do this one, right? Yeah. So it's such a compounding effect over time that you can multiply just your life in a number of ways by making little pivots along the journey with intention. And having somebody who has the outside perspective, who has been along that journey, is, I don't know if you can calculate a value to that over time.
Yeah, and you can't, and that's why for anybody who's listening to this, if you're on that fence, if you're looking at trying to find ways to reach your full potential, start by looking out. I love that advice you just gave, man. Is mentor somebody else, but also look for others to mentor you, and you know, and really take your knowledge and your experience and your growth and your personal growth journey, take it seriously. And put the time and energy in to do that, and to level up, to get better as an individual, as a leader, as a father, as a husband, as a person, as a mother, as a, you know, and all the things. If you just make an intentional effort every day to get better, it's incredible how that compounds itself, and how fast and how accomplished you can be in life in a short period of time.
Yeah, and it's like you just said it, but it's also like the compounding effect of the impact outside of the business. You know, becoming the CEO of your company tends to becoming the CEO of your life, which in turn becomes the CEO of your family, and like that has an indirect impact that is also immeasurable, to like having stronger conversations with your spouse, having better connections with your kids, having more time to work on your physical being, having more time to like give yourself a chance to catch your breath and be mentally sharp. And you can't put a dollar figure on that, but like you can look at your life and say, I'm enjoying the journey more now than I was 2 years ago. I may be dealing with bigger problems or more, challenging situations, but I'm happy about it, as opposed to feeling beat up all the time. You put a measurement on that. Put a measurement on the fact that you're excited to show up to your company tomorrow instead of afraid to walk in the front door of the business you built. I mean, I know for a fact you've seen people like that don't even want to show up to their own company because they don't get the people don't get them. They've negotiated their standards, they've let people into their ecosystem or let them stay too long. They're like, I don't even want to go in there anymore. It's like, bitch, you built that. That's your fault. All of that is your fault. Go fix it.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing there too: is if you don't take control of writing the narrative, guess what? It's going to be written for you. Your team is going to write your narrative. Your people, your clients, the people around you are going to write your narrative if you don't take control of it and direct that narrative. Be the director of your life, right? A director of your business, and don't be afraid of it. Take ownership when you make mistakes, and enjoy the ride and give credit when credit is due when you do have successes.
Well, and I've been saying this a lot lately, and I'm not sure if somebody needs to hear this right now or not in your audience, but like, you don't have to suffer to win. Like, it doesn't have to suck. You don't have to be in pain. You don't have to be anxious. You don't have to be frustrated. You don't have to be exhausted all the time. Like, there are seasons for different things, but like, suffering is not necessary to win. Because I think that's what pulls people back in, is when they get to that CEO, they're actually working less and it feels easier. So they feel like they're not doing enough. So they dive back in and break a bunch of shit so they feel valued again. And because they feel like if they're not giving it every minute of every day, they're not doing their job. And the reality is that's just not true. You make less decisions as CEO, but they're 10 times as important or impactful. So that breath you get to catch every Tuesday afternoon is so you're mentally prepared for the more challenging problems you're going to face later that week. But like, it doesn't have to suck. Like, you don't have to suffer to succeed. Like, yes, like no pain, no gain that we heard growing up as athletes is just not the reality of what it looks like in life. Because there isn't an off season. There isn't a time to recoup. There isn't a championship game that ends the season. Like, this is a forever journey, and you're continually evolving and continually trying to get better. But if you're constantly feeling like you're not doing enough, because if you're not in pain, you're not doing enough, you will resent everything you build.
Yep. Absolutely. And here's the other side of that is when you do start, entrepreneurs, you see a little success, or maybe you build something and you get to a place where you're starting to embrace that, hey, I'm working on my business, I got a team in place, I'm doing things happen. Guess what? We all of a sudden start thinking, oh, let's do this over and over and over again. Let's find that. We need that excitement of building a business. We need that excitement again. So then we start chasing shiny objects, and we lose focus and we lose sight of what we built and what we created. You deal with this too. I did. Hey, I'm a guy, I got multiple businesses. I've been there, done that. And it's a challenge, right? It's like a joke, but it's kind of true, where I made my own bed. I have 2 full-time jobs. But if I can execute at a high level and surround myself with great leaders, I can manage 2 full-time jobs and have a life and be a father and be a husband and travel and do the fun things I like to do. And that's the objective. And that's what I try to share and help others as well. But that shiny object syndrome, man, it ruins so many of us, because a lot of entrepreneurs are wired in a way that they thrive off of the thrill and the chase of creating and building something. But once it's built and once it's working, it's not as exciting to just make small tweaks or to solve small challenges. They need this like overwhelming sense of, excitement all the time. And then they start chasing other things, and it compounds the wrong direction, and then you find yourself in a tough spot.
Well, I think a lot of that comes from the comparative analysis, right? Everybody's telling you got to do more, chase more, be more. Enough is never enough. And I think that, a lot of times, what I've been really trying to teach lately is like teaching people how to dream selfishly. Like, build your life to your standards, irrelevant what anybody else thinks it should be. Right? Like I'm very focused on being a husband and a father right now, which means my business may not be as big as it could be right now if I was 100% focused on my business, but I'm not willing to sacrifice those other two roles. Like I'm not willing to not be attentive. I'm not willing to have no energy at the end of the day anymore where my kids get nothing from me because I've given it all to the business. And so like my business may be underperforming its potential, but it's performing well enough that it's growing and the momentum's good, and I still have time for my wife and my sons. And like, and like, I'm okay with that. Like someone say, well, Mike, you could do so many more millions in revenue. Sure, I know. And I'm okay not doing that in this season where my kids are 7 and 4 and my wife's busy doing it. We're homeschooling now. And like that role, like that, one of my primary roles needs more of my attention. So my business, if I was giving it 100% effort and attention, would be bigger and badder right now. But that's not the goal. That's not success for me right now. It's pouring into my team. It's pouring into my wife. It's pouring into my son. So yeah, my business might be underperforming someone else's perspective of what it's capable of. Or I could be spending more time building secondary incomes or second businesses or whatever. But that's not what winning looks like to me. I think so many people get stuck in this, what they see on the internet, what they see on social. Allow me to be the person to give you permission to be happy with what you have and not done yet. Like you're allowed to be satisfied with what you have right now. You're allowed to be grateful. You're allowed to be proud of what you have right now and not be done yet. Like I'm happy with where I am. And I'm not done yet. I'm going to work hard every day on my disciplines to make sure I'm the husband, the father, the leader, and the athlete I want to be. Those are the 4 primary roles I'm focused on right now. So I'm not worried as much about my friendships. I'm not worried as much about, I still pray, I still watch church, but I don't go to church. I'm not volunteering at church, but I donate $800 a week. So like, but that's what winning looks like to me right now. Like, oh, you need to play a more active role in your community. No, I don't. I'm happy with what I'm doing right now. It's my rules. It's my life. It's my definition and measurement of success. And if more people could get that thing, that level of confidence that I'm happy, I'm winning, and I'm not done evolving yet, and that's okay, more people will be happy in like the businesses they've built. More people will be happy with who they are today. More people would probably be happier, healthier, in better shape, with better relationships with the people that matter if they just got better at dreaming more like selfishly. Like, this is what I want. And if that's not enough for you, Randy, cool. You do you, I'm going to do me, and I'm going to be happy, and you can be happy too. Like, you want multiple businesses? Cool. I don't want multiple businesses. I want to do one really well right now.
Yep.
I'm also, and like, I mean this like respectfully, I'm only 36. I'll be working for the next 30 years no matter what I do. Because I'm not going to, like, retirement's not a thing for me. Like, I'm going to be working on something. And so at 48, 49, I'll be an empty nester. If I'm going to go all in on a new business and, like, at that point, I'll have all the time in the world to do that. Right now, I want to be available for them.
Yeah.
And, like, that's just, I think if more people could just be comfortable with, like, what does success for you look like? With no external inputs from people that are not living your life. You'd be a lot freaking happier, man. I'm tired of watching people miserable and suicidal and drunk and high and addicted to porn and addicted to bullshit because they just can't find a way to be happy in their own fucking life when they have full control over what their life actually looks like. I'm just tired of watching people suffer for the wrong reasons, man. It's just it's tearing me up. Like right now specifically because cash flow's starting to become a problem. Consumer spending starting to become different. Insurance companies are adjusting their rules and regulations. Money's not flowing as well. And if your happiness and your value is tied to your bank account and your revenue, you're going to fucking hate yourself for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So you better have a scoreboard you're looking at that's not that. And I think if more people could get on board that, there'd be a lot less suffering in the U.S. right now for sure.
Man, what better way to start to this wind down and land this plane than that, man? That you nailed it. And we have a choice every single day on how to be happy. People are wake up and they're chasing and chasing and chasing. If I get this, then I'll get this. If I can achieve this, then I'll feel this certain way. Why don't you just wake up and feel that way now? I can wake up today and be grateful for the trailer that I live in and the used car that I drive and the family, the wife and the kids I have. I can be grateful with what I have no matter what. We have a choice as human beings to be grateful and to be happy no matter what, right? Isn't that, circle it back. That's what the Bible teaches, right? Circles right back to that too. It's like, we have that choice.
So
Let's make that choice.
I'm going to give two
and
quick
get better.
lessons before we have to end this. Two quick lessons. So one is, what if the only thing you had tomorrow is what you thank God for today? What if the only things you woke up with tomorrow were the things you thank God for today? Like, your gratitude changes. Like, I have somebody in my ecosystem right now whose wife didn't wake up yesterday.
It's awful.
Like 38, healthy. So imagine if the only thing you woke up with tomorrow was what you were grateful for and thank God for today. You would look at your life differently. Like, look at your wife, look at your kids, look at that trailer, look at that car. Imagine if you weren't grateful for it today, you wouldn't have it tomorrow. Imagine that.
Yep.
And the second lesson is, and this is where a lot for me pivoted. It was, within the last 18 months or so, is, I've always been bothered by like body dysmorphia issues. Like, I was 330 pounds once, and like in my mind, I've been fat forever. And so, but I remember looking back at some pictures of me when I was in like, I was good shape, like 225, 230, like good definition. And I was like, I remember looking back at that last year and saying, I wish I could have been happy then. Like, I wish I could have been happy with where I was then, instead of beating myself up about that little thing that's right here and that 5 extra pounds I want to lose. And I wish I could have been happy then. And I made a commitment to myself that I'm never going to look back to a photo of my life, whether it's with my kids, my wife, a vacation, body image, whatever, and wish I would have been happy then. And the only way to solve that is to be happy today. Is to be happy today is the only way to prevent myself from having to look back at a previous experience. Because I'm sure we look back at like pictures of us with our kids being like, I was fucking miserable that day. Why? I'd give anything to go back to that period. Or a vacation with your wife that you're like, man, I ruined that vacation because I was so distracted with work. I wish I could have just been happy with her there. We've all been there. But I made a commitment last year that I'm not going to look back at any previous experience and wish I could have been happy in that time. And the only way to solve that is to be happy today, is to be happy every day. And if you can make that commitment to say, I'm not done, I'm disciplined, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm not where I want to be, but I'm happy with my effort and my discipline and my decision making and my commitment. I'm happy with those things, but I'm not done yet. That is a very light and fast way to operate in life, because you just cruise. Because there's no anchors, there's no weight, there's no issues. You're just like, I'm happy today. I'm not satisfied. Like, I got more I want to do, but I'm happy with who I am today. I'm happy with how I show up for my team. I'm happy with how I show up for my family. I'm happy how I show up for me. I'm happy with my diet. I'm happy with my exercise. All things you have control over. If you can be grateful today for what you have so you have it tomorrow, and you can decide right now, I'm never going to look back at something and wish I was happy when I had that, I promise you your life will get a lot easier. I promise you.
I love it. There you have it, folks. We have a choice to be content and being happy today, yet it's okay to be not satisfied, to go after it, to work hard to achieve your dreams, to achieve more, but be content, be happy with what you have today. Mike Claudio, WinRate Consulting, man. Thank you for your time today. How do we get a hold of you, my friend?
You just go to MikeClaudio.com. That has all the content, the websites, everything. So you just go to MikeClaudio.com. That's the best place.
And that's MikeClaudio.com. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, as you grow as a leader, so grows your company and so grows your life. Have a great day. Take care. God bless.